Hey guys, how you doing? Eric at SoCal Cigars. Hope you guys had a awesome holiday. It's actually the day after Christmas, so this is the first time I've actually been able to break away and make a video. I know it's been a little while, and I'd never like to go this long without putting out a new video, but with work and the state of things in the world and holidays, it's just been craziness. So anyway, I'm really stoked to be back here, able to do another review, and actually, it's going to be the fourth in the series of the Deadwood cigars that I'm going to finally wrap up this review. So today we're going to be looking at the Leather Rose. As a quick recap, the first one I had reviewed was the Fat Bottom Betty, which I was a massive fan of, and I'm already on my second box of those that I've ordered. Then I had reviewed the Sweet Jane, which I was not a fan of. So needless to say, I did not acquire any of those cigars. And then I had reviewed the pyramid-shaped Crazy Alice, and again, massive fan of that one too. That was a fantastic cigar, and I actually have already ordered a box that has already arrived, and so I've got those as well. So today, though, we're going to look at the last of these four, and that is the Leather Rose. And this is the Torpedo. Let's take a look at it real quick. And ironically, this one has a band at the end, but it does not have that covering of tobacco that the other three have. And it's funny, and this is why I love doing this, and this is why I love, the people that subscribe and make comments and emails and interact. It's so cool to be able to share all this information. So I couldn't figure out why they had put that wrap of tobacco over the foot of the cigar, because to me, and I still agree with this, I think it gets in the way of lighting it properly, how I like to light it, because I like to pre-light it almost like, again, I always refer to like char cloth. When you get a nice toast on the whole thing and then you go to light it, it just lights nice and even and it works out perfect. But one of my subscribers had made the comment that apparently that is a feature that is supposed to give you a hit of the wrapper, like a heavy hit of the wrapper when you first light the cigar. And instead of toasting the foot on a folded over piece like that, you just light it like you normally would. And that extra tobacco is also supposed to flare up and help light it. So apparently, I guess I sort of stand corrected in the fact that I wasn't sure what it was for, and it seemed to just be in my way. Apparently there's a reason. It had a purpose to it. I didn't know what that was, so now we do. So thank you for that. But this one just has like a little nice piece of, almost not paper, it's almost like a little piece of ribbon. It's like silky looking, so that's cool. But again, we always have a nice presentation on this. Anything associated, and again, these are Deadwood Cigar Company, not Drew Estate, but they're being sold with Drew Estate, so I think they're, like we discussed in the first video, they're kind of in bed together as far as working together. Anyway, nice nice wrapper. The build is, again, these are all beautiful builds. And for the tobacco, or for the torpedo shape with the cap, man, that cap is wrapped really low, so that's nice. So if you got to cut into it to get a better draw, you can. Oh man, again, these things just smell killer. Man, that smells rich and strong. Wow, that's awesome. And today, as a pairing, I'm going to use ginger ale. Usually I'm a Mountain Dew guy, and sometimes whiskey or whatever, but today is going to be a Canada Dry, I think, because ginger ale doesn't seem to impart a ton of flavor into the cigar. So I think that's good. I use my little deep V, even though a torpedo. So some people will say you can't use a deep V on a torpedo. I beg to differ. I think it makes a killer cut on a torpedo cigar. So I have no issues with that whatsoever. Again, that's the cool thing about cigars, man. It's subjective. Are there some hard, fast rules? Yeah, sort of. In the end, though, do whatever the hell you want. Whatever works for you, man. It's your cigar. It's your life. Going to use this bad boy again. We're going to go ahead and toast the foot because this doesn't have that folded over bit. So we'll just do that. Let this shrink down a little bit. All right, so let's drink it in. See what we get. So on the onset, in fact, I can even see on the outside of the cap of this, you can almost see like a shiny glazed look on it, like it actually literally has sugary something painted onto it. And you do get that. It's a really heavy hit of sweet. But again, for me, I love that, so it's not a problem. If you're not into sweet cigars, you may not like that, but I love it. So I'm trying to see what I get right out the gate, and right out the gate, I can feel a little bit of it's like a little earthy. Again, kind of that. It's kind of a full flavor, but yeah, kind of an earthy overtone. Kind of again that grassy, the hay, the earth flavor. But again, I just lit it, so obviously got to get into it a little bit before we can see how this thing develops. But just at least to give you an idea off the bat on the first couple draws after lighting, it's you already start getting that kind of warm, earthy taste to it. Yeah, it's good. I mean, I can tell it's when I'm thinking of the other three, I think if I recall, I probably have to rewatch the video, but if I recall when I had that Sweet Jane, I think it was pretty clear pretty quickly that I wasn't going to be a fan. And this is falling more into the category of the other two, the Fat Bottom Betty and the Crazy Alice, that I'm already getting the impression I'm going to like this one, as which would be pretty cool, because out of 4 cigars in that line, not bad to have 3 of them be in my wheelhouse and only 1 not. Let's get a little pull of the ginger ale. So I'll say, not as good as Mountain Dew. I've really found that when you're talking about a cigar this sweet, and you've got the wrapper that sweet, that pairing of something really sweet goes really great with it. And this is ginger ale is not nearly as sweet as like a sugary, like a Mountain Dew or even a Pepsi or a Coke or a standard soda or even a vanilla or cream ale. I think that would be a little better fit, but it's still fine. You know. So a lot of smoke. So far the burn looks good. Had a little hiccup here, but it was because there was a tiny little crack in it. And that could have just been a one-off thing. I'd say overall the construction has been really good. The only construction issues I think I had were on that one I didn't like, which was the Sweet Jane. But all the other ones, the other two, they had no burn issues whatsoever, and they were really, really pretty good. As far as the construction and the way that they burned and the smoke and the ash, everything's really tight. You see the ash is really thick and dense. It's a really well-made cigar. Yes. This one does a lot of smoke output. Anyway, we've got some time together. So, this is the day after Christmas. It's a Saturday. So, hopefully you guys had a great holiday. Whether you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever whatever other traditions your family follows. I hope yesterday was a great day, if that's the day you guys celebrate. I know a lot of our family in Denmark. It was interesting because this time last year we were flying to Denmark, and we left we left on the 24th of December, which is when Denmark celebrates Christmas. And then we landed in Denmark on the 25th of December when we celebrate Christmas in the U.S. So it was just kind of funny. Last year we were both Christmases that we could have enjoyed were spent on an airplane. So, and just amazing to think that a year ago we were flying over to Denmark and walking through the cities of Copenhagen and Esbjerg and all these different cool places and seeing all these beautiful sights. Now the thought of when we could even fly over to Denmark again is, I don't even know when that could be a possibility. So anyway, it's a weird time right now, isn't it? So this happens every once in a while. You'll get a little bit, and especially because I did cut it in a torpedo shape, or I'm sorry, I cut a torpedo shape with a V. Sometimes the little bits of the cap will come off, but that's not a problem. And if it was a straight cut, it probably wouldn't have happened. So I don't fault the cigar, because as far as I'm just telling you right now, the Deadwood cigars, even the one I didn't like that much, the Sweet Jane, the construction is just really, really fantastic on these things. I mean, they're really well put together cigars. It's a pleasure to smoke them. All right, let's see if we can get anything else out of this thing. It still tastes good. That I'm not getting any bitterness. I'm not getting anything. I'm not getting anything that I don't like. And again, it's so subjective. It's like wine. It's like whiskey. It's like food. To me, this could be the best cigar I've ever smoked. To you, this could be garbage. So it's all subjective. So I guess what you're always trying to do in a review is look to see if your flavor profile, for the most part, matches mine. And then you'll have a good way to navigate what I'm telling you, if it's going to be something you would like or not. Because even if I'm telling you this is really sweet and things like that, you can say, okay, well, I know I'm opposite of that, so I know as a review, I know that's going to help me to know not to get the cigar because I'm not going to like it. So you can use the review for both sides, whether you like it or don't like it. At least it'll lead you in the right direction, hopefully. But I would say, again, if you're a fan of the other two, the Crazy Alice and the Fat Bottom Betty, I think you'll like this one. I'm not getting a lot more off of it yet. It's still, I'm starting to get a little more creamy notes on it. It does almost feels like it coats the inside of your mouth a little bit with kind of like that sugary. And again, I know it's just so ironic because if you don't like sweet cigars, when I say that it's kind of sugary, you're going to be like, oh my God, that's gross. But for someone like me, or if you're in my wheelhouse of cigars, that's a fantastic compliment that it's sugary. Yeah, this one stays sweet longer, I think, than the other ones. I mean, the not really the Sweet Jane, because that, even though it said sweet in the name, it surely wasn't sweet. But the other two that also had like that sweetness on the cap, if I recall, that disappeared pretty quickly. This one, it's not. It's staying. I'm still getting that creamy sweetness that on the other two had disappeared, I think, well before this point. It was kind of just like that flavoring on the outside, but where this sort of feels like it's pulling some of that sweetness from the inside too. So almost like the leaves have been cured or soaked in some kind of I know with like Drew Estates, there are different botanical oils and stuff. So I'm not sure exactly what they're using in this, because they also don't list it out like Drew Estate doesn't. They don't list what they're really doing, but I can tell that part of that process had to do something with the sweet aspect, because even when you feel the cigar, you can sort of feel it. Almost feels like like more rigid and crystal, like crystals on it, like it's almost like sugar, if that makes sense. But it's yeah, so far so good. So trying to retrohale, I'm trying to get some more notes out of it, and I do get a little bit of, it's maybe a little woodsy too. Like it's kind of adding up to be a little bit like the I'd say between the Crazy Alice and the Fat Bottom Betty, I think this is leaning more towards like the Crazy Alice, the little pyramid one. It kind of reminds me of that. Yeah, yeah, it's a woodsy, creamy, sweet I'm trying to think because the name's Leather Rose, so I'm almost, because it's ironic. I just started to almost taste like a little leathery note to it too, which I thought was odd. But it's definitely no peppery, no spicy, no bitter. Um, there's no tongue bite. There's no. It's really smooth and it's really nice. In fact, I would almost argue with all of them, this might be the best one. This almost feels like it's a cross between the Crazy Alice and the Fat Bottom Betty. It's almost like if those two got married and had little cigar babies, it might be a Leather Rose. Hmm. Yeah, I do. You almost get a little. I don't know if it's coincidental that the leather's in the name, but I do get a little bit of like a leathery, woodsy, earthy, and sweet. That's kind of what I'm getting. Those are kind of the four aromas and tastes I'm getting, which is good. I mean, it tastes really good. Some more of my ginger ale action. See, I'd almost say that ginger ale, because not that I do a lot of pairing videos, not that I do a lot of review videos, but I can just tell you right now that I would have preferred a Mountain Dew or something sweeter to go with this cigar, because that, when I take a drink off of that, it almost like it clears my palate of the sweetness that then this has to build back up. So I almost feel like I'm defeating the purpose a little bit by drinking that. So I would argue that wasn't a very good pairing. I would have gone with something sweeter. And then if you're going to go with an alcoholic drink, I would go with something that's on the sweeter side of the spectrum than not, because I think you really want to complement what your cigar is like. I don't think you're looking so much for that contrast, so I think they start fighting each other. I think you're looking for that complement, and I think that this is so sweet that it really would complement with something really sweet as well. Because otherwise, I almost feel like I'm washing away what I'm building up with a cigar in my mouth, and then have to rebuild it again. Almost feels like it's kind of counterproductive, if that makes sense. Not that I'm a pairing expert, but again, like I said, this is all subjective. This is just how I see it. Yeah, but this is great, man. I mean, this is something I'll probably end up buying a box, if that tells you anything. Which is not bad. So out of the 4 cigars from Deadwood Tobacco Company, hey, 3 out of 4, man, that's pretty good. The only one that didn't hit it for me was the Sweet Alice, which is ironic because it says sweet right in the name, but it wasn't sweet. Not like the other 3 are. So anyway, I'm in it a little bit here. So let me. You can see the little graphic there. Pretty cool. Anyway, I'll get down a little deeper on this thing, and then I'll come back and give you kind of my final thoughts on this thing. All right? Stay tuned. All right, I am back. And as you can see, I'm just about down to the wrapper. So let me tell you what developed here. So when I got to, I would say that the halfway mark of this cigar, it stayed pretty consistent, like I had said. It was creamy, earthy, a little like hay, grass. I started to get the subtlest note of like a leathery taste to it, but overall really creamy and sweet. What I did notice at about the halfway mark is I got the slightest overtones of bitterness from usually from what you would normally think is from hotboxing it or heating up the cigar too much and drawing too heavy or too fast, which I don't do. And I would also say it wasn't massive. So on a scale of like 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, the bitterness on this was like a 2. But it was there. I could taste it. But it was not overpowering, and it didn't detract from the flavor of the cigar at all. But yeah, I'd say that other than adding in the most subtle amount of bitterness in the halfway mark, it stayed really consistent. So again, if you're, yeah, because I can taste that as I'm getting closer to the end here. I can start to taste a little more bitterness as well, which to me is pretty standard for cigars. Because like I've said before, when you're looking at a cigar this long, this trying to get it focused. Sorry, this back third, let's say, is sort of becoming the filter of the cigar, and it's catching the extra tar and nicotine, and the smoke's going through it, so it's being heated up with all that smoke drawing through it. So it's not a flaw of the cigar that the back tail end of these things get a little bitter, in my opinion. In fact, if you look back at some cigar aficionado literature from way back, I don't remember whether it's 40s or 50s or whatever, and you were talking about cigar etiquette, they had recommended that you only ever smoke half the cigar, and then you set it down and you let it go out, and that would be it. And I have a feeling that it was something to do with the fact that the back half of the cigar is kind of acting as the filter, and eventually just starts becoming a little bit bitter. So again, according to Cigar Aficionado, the proper way to smoke a cigar was to only smoke to about the halfway point. So again, I would never look at a cigar getting a little bit bitter at the end and say, oh, that's a bad cigar. It's like, no, I think that's pretty much normal. So I wouldn't let that take away from it. So overall, for the 4 Deadwoods, I would say because of that tiny bit of bitterness that came into it, I would have to say my favorite is going to be the Fat Bottom Betty. My second's going to be the Crazy Alice, and the third is going to be this Leather Rose, and the Sweet Jane to me just didn't make the cut. So that's kind of my final look at these 4 cigars. So if that sounds like it's something you might enjoy, I would definitely check this out. And believe me when I tell you, when I rank these from first, second, and third, there's not a big margin between them. So even though this one maybe came in third at the end there, it's still way up there. It's not like this came way at the bottom. All 3 are excellent. And I'd say if you get any of those 3, you'll be completely happy with them if your flavor profile is kind of in my wheelhouse, which a lot of you have said that it is. So I'd give this a go. I'd definitely check this out. So anyway, thanks for watching, and hopefully this was helpful. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and we'll keep this all moving forward and cruising along, and we'll get to check out some more cigars. I'll probably start doing a few reviews here and there when I find cigars I think I really want to bring to your attention, because I think some are just average, but I think there's those certain cigars that just stand out that are worth being brought to your attention. To me, that's kind of my role, is to take what I'm experiencing and be able to present it, because I know that by doing that, I've turned a lot of my friends and some subscribers onto cigars that you maybe would have never known about, and are huge fans of them now. So that's kind of my job here, I think, is to bring you knowledge and to bring you at least the experiences I've had, and see if it can maybe make your cigar smoking experience even better. So anyway, hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your holiday weekend, and I'll see you on the next video. Until then, enjoy a nice cigar, relax, and let it all go. Don't take life too serious. No one's going to get out of here alive.